Hi everybody and welcome back to another new vlog. I hope you can hear me alright over the sound of this waterfall behind me. I'm here at Slitting Waterfall, which is not far from Cannock Chase, in fact right on the edge of Cannock Chase, and there's a heritage trail that leads from here all the way over onto Cannock Chase itself. I wanted to come here and first of all take a few shots of Slitting Waterfall because I've been here before at different times of the year and I just wanted to see it with a lot of water flowing over it, which is always perfect in the autumn really. In the winter there may be slightly too much water coming over the top of that waterfall, which would make it a little difficult to shoot, but also in the summer when there's no rain, it's very dry, there's virtually nothing coming over this waterfall. So I think this is probably just about the right time of year to capture this. There's no real light in the sky at all, it's all very dull and murky, so really all about this waterfall. Now you might be able to see just behind me I've got the Cannock EOS R8 with the 24 to 50mm lens on it at the moment. I have originally put the 40 to 35mm lens on and taken a couple of photos at various different focal lengths from this spot here, somewhere ranging from 20mm up to about 35mm. I've also just put the 24 to 50mm onto the camera to see if that works as well, and we're going to try and take a shot at just over 35mm with that lens as well. At the end of the day I'm going to choose which of those images I like the best, and hopefully you'll see it in just a moment. But before I put that image on, I'm also going to try and walk around the side of the waterfall. I think I can just get along the side of it here and try and get a shot a little bit closer in of the waterfall, and then I'm going to move on to Cannock Chase. Back on the heritage trail now. I've walked along the heritage trail from Slitting Waterfall towards the edge of Cannock Chase, which is where I've got to right now. Part of that journey though was walking along a very busy main road. I could have got onto the heritage trail a little bit further along and avoided the main road a little bit, but I've got onto it here deliberately because this particular part of the trail leads to an area called Birches Valley. Now, I saw some photos on social media yesterday, in fact, from Birches Valley, which showed beautiful golds and yellows and greens and even oranges and golden browns of the autumn leaves on the trees. And that's really the reason I wanted to come out today, not just because of the waterfall, although the waterfall itself was a good starting point for this vlog, but I also wanted to really come out for the golden colours of the autumnal leaves. So I'm heading towards Birches Valley now because I know that there are a lot of colours popping in that area. I'm not all that far away from it, and as you can see the colours around me are already starting to pop anyway. Again, there's no real light. What there is, it's quite harsh, surprisingly. It is quite early in the morning. Well, I say early in the morning, it's late morning really now. It's just about 11 o'clock. So I'm going to have a walk up here and find Birches Valley. It is signposted most of the way, so I should be able to find it fairly easily, and then I'm going to walk through Birches Valley and head off in that direction and see what I can find. I've just had a near disaster just a few minutes ago. I've never actually done this particular walk before. I've been to Cannock Chase a few times before, and I've been to Slitting Waterfall a few times before, but this particular spot that I'm in now I've never actually walked before, so I didn't know really where I was, and it would have been my fault if anything had gone down the way it nearly did. I wandered off a path. There's lots of paths around here, some for cycling only, some for walking only, some for running only, and I wandered off the path that I was on onto a cycling only path and didn't realise where I was. Luckily I'd only got about 20 yards up the path when I realised it was a cycling path, and two cyclists came past me and said, look, you're going to cause a bit of an issue here if you carry on walking along this path. Basically I had to turn around and go and find out where I was supposed to be going instead. But I found the right path now, and I'm looking for the green waymarked paths. So everywhere I'm walking I'm looking out for those way markers, but also I'm looking for some kind of foreground or midground interest or even a background interest to complement the colours that we've got here in the autumnal woodland. And I think I may have found something here. I'm at a place called Storybrook Pools, and I think there's about 2 or 3 of them along this path. And just along this very first one here, there's a spot where I think I can take a photo, and I've got all the beautiful colour on the far side of the pool, somewhere over in that direction, and it's reflecting perfectly off the pool as well. So I think there's going to be a shot here. I'm going to set up and take it anyway. If it's any good, I'll put the image on the screen now for you. Look at this bridge behind me. That's quite impressive, isn't it? But it seems to be leading up along the path, which then kind of curves around just ahead of the bridge and up towards the beautiful colour there of those trees in the distance. So I think there's an image to be had here with the bridge leading you to the path up to the trees. Probably a portrait orientation, and to be honest, I think handheld here might work quite nicely as well. There's nothing really going on, there's no movement, so it doesn't really matter about the light or anything like that. So I can close my aperture down quite a bit and still shoot with a decent shutter speed to handhold. So that's what I'm going to do here. The cyclist coming along this path now, along the bridge as well in a minute, so I'm going to have to stand out the way to make sure I'm not in their way. But I'm going to take this shot here as well. I'm kind of noticing a couple of things as I'm walking along today. The first thing I'm noticing is that when I'm using the EOS R8, the on-off switch is on the opposite side of the camera to the on-off dial on the RP. So when I'm filming with the RP, it's just very easy for me to remember, after 3.5 years of using it, exactly where to switch it on and off. Now, with the R8, if you leave the camera on for a long enough period of time, it starts to overheat. And I've noticed that on a couple of walks out that I've been with it, where I've left it switched on and put it back in the bag, and it started to overheat, and all of a sudden I've realised half an hour later and discovered it was overheating, and thought, well, that's a bit unsafe, isn't it? I better stop doing that. So I've noticed today as I'm walking around that I'm having to physically think about making sure that I switch off the R8 every time I've finished taking the photo. But also the other thing that I'm noticing is I'm taking out the 24 to 50mm lens much more often than I ever thought I would do previously. When I bought the R8 camera about a month or so ago now, I also got the 24 to 50mm with the camera as a kit lens. I didn't really need to do it, but I got a better deal on the camera body simply by adding the kit lens to it, which is quite unusual, to be honest. It was cheaper to get the camera body with the kit lens than it was to just get the camera body on its own. So that's what I decided to do. But now I'm finding that I'm taking out the 24 to 50mm lens more often than I thought I would do. So maybe that's the lens that I'm going to be using more and more often in the future. I don't know. It could also just be that it makes it easier for me to leave the 14 to 35 on the RP while I'm vlogging, and then just put the 24 to 50 on the R8 so that I can take the photos with that. That's a possibility. I don't know for sure though. I've just stopped here because along this path there's an area here where there's some leaves on the trees at the side of the path, just slightly up the banking a little bit, and they give a real pop of colour, and I'm wondering if it's worth me trying to climb up onto the banking itself to try and get a portrait shot of that pop of colour coming through the trees. Looks like quite an interesting one. It might be good to shoot that in portrait orientation as well, because the trees are very, very tall, so I can elongate the height of those images and bring the trees and that pop of colour into the image together. So I've just tried to get up on the banking. It looks quite difficult to do and a little bit unsafe, to be honest with you. There is an area where I could stand if I could get up there, but I'm not going to risk it because I don't want to end up falling on my arse and breaking my ankle or my neck or anything like that. But there is still a shot here of this image, so I think I can just about compose this up with the 24 to 50mm once again, and portrait orientation, and maybe even a square crop when it comes round to it. So I'll have a look at this one with the 24 to 50mm. Hope you like it. Well, this is really nice here actually. I found a spot by what I think is Fair Rope Pool, which is a little further up from Storybrook Pools where I was a little earlier. And I think there's a nice pano across the other side of the pool from where I'm standing. If I turn you around, I might be able to show you that. Notice those beautiful trees there, right on the edge of the lake itself, the pool, and then you've got the beautiful reflections running across the pool, but also then you've got these darker evergreen trees at the back, which I can use to cut out the light from the sky. So basically I'll be taking a pano which just comes just below the level of the tops of those trees and takes in all the beautiful colour of these trees along the edge of the lake and the reflections in the lake itself. Probably use the 100 to 400mm lens at 100, maybe 135mm to get right in close to those beautiful colours there. So I hope you like this pano. That's it then folks for today's vlog. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you really liked that panorama that I've just shot last thing. As you can see, the colours are really popping behind me, and today was really about all of those beautiful autumnal colours that we're getting within the landscape and within the woodland. I think I've been quite lucky because about 10 days ago I was further north actually in the Peak District in Matlock, walking from Matlock to Cromford, and I managed to capture the autumn colours just as they were starting to pop right at the beginning. But I think now, looking at how everything is at the moment, I think we've probably only got about 3 or 4 more days, a week at the very most, of this kind of colour, and then everything will start to drop away. All the leaves start to drop off the trees as we head pretty much into winter by then anyway. So my next vlog may not be quite as colourful. It's possible, I think. It's only going to be about 4 or 5 days before I record the next one anyway, so I may get lucky as well on that one, but it all depends on where I decide to go to see if I can capture some photos. So I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to the channel if you are not already, because that really helps me to carry the channel forward in the future. And I look forward to seeing you all on another vlog very soon. Bye for now.